This footage is shot with the 3-axis smartphone gimbal with remarkable quality, a removable battery, and this cool-looking manual focus ring at a price that won't break your pocket. Weird name though, Aochuan Smart X Pro. So let's inspect. Hi everybody, good to meet you. Michael, my name, and what we do here on the channel is to inspect fresh and cool tech with... Today we're going to talk about this gimbal in particular, which comes from a company called Aochuan. But look at it, you know, the color, the build quality, the sturdiness, it's very much DJI grade, and I would say it's pretty much on par in terms of build quality and performance about stabilization. But if we count software and firmware, sometimes it kind of goes crazy, and I'll talk about this during this video. By the way, the phone here, that's the Xiaomi 12 Pro, but it's only for the showcase right now because most of the footage is shot with a lot more affordable smartphone, because when you buy a gimbal, usually it's because your smartphone is lacking good stabilization. And yeah, we want to see how this actually performs. I think I've just mentioned about the most obvious competitor. There are quite many similar models out there by Feiyutech, Moza, Zhuin, Hoem, and many others, which come with quite interesting features and also competitive prices. This one costs around $100. The Pro variation is quite a great deal, which can not only serve as a primary smartphone gimbal, but may also come handy for stabilizing some action cameras. So, unboxing. This has been the first positive impression that I got from the unit. It's a pretty nicely designed box, so let's hope unpacking will keep up this nice pace. Masters leap always leads, which sounds like a translated Chinese saying, because I couldn't find much about such an idiom online. Pretty good feeling when I got my hands on the gimbal. Looks done of quality materials, bunch of stamps to explain the various sections. We'll come back to this point in just a moment. There's a small tripod included, a charging USB Type-C cable, and instruction manual. No carrying pouch or case, but it's pocket-friendly if you have deep pockets. Here's my favorite feature. It's powered by a single 18,650 type rechargeable battery, so once the battery is empty, you can replace it and not waste any time between recharging. Not only that, but it makes the device future-proof, because after 3-4 years after the battery degrades, you can simply replace it for a new one and keep on using the gimbal. I kinda miss seeing gimbals of that type these days, and if someone tells you that it's no longer possible or easy to create such, just remember you've seen it with the Aochuan Smart X Pro. At the first sight, we see the controls, nice flexible joystick, a power on button and the shutter button. This on the side must be the zooming in and out function, and this here is a manual focus ring mechanism. There's a 1/4-inch mount at the bottom, and this is where we put the included tripod. And a very good folding mechanism which can lock the gimbal into one place, and it's very transportation friendly. If you want to get to know the specifications, 3-axis mechanical stabilization, integrated fill light, manual controls for focus and zoom, replaceable 3200 mAh battery, OLED display, multiple adjustment and configuration options, a Type-C charging port, Bluetooth support, smartphone app, and weight of around 310 grams. Specs at this point sound pretty good, especially for a gimbal of 2022, but truth is that the real-life experience is a very different topic. Still, there are a few important things to highlight about this gimbal. I really enjoy the folding mechanism. It's quite reliable and very pocket-friendly. The second, and easily that's my favorite feature, is this removable panel. It's magnet-based, and underneath you have the battery, which is replaceable, removable. You can get a few spares and enjoy uninterrupted shooting during the whole time. The third great thing is this manual focus ring, which, well, already is a feature that many mirrorless camera gimbals are already having. And on a software level, the part that I enjoyed is that we don't really have to activate it prior to the first usage, meaning that probably the amount of statistics it's sending somewhere on the cloud is kind of brought to minimum. Now, the things which are not so obvious. For instance, the angles. When it comes to panning and rolling, they're pretty good, 330 and 310, but, you know, tilting, and you can see here how limited, that's the maximum. And that's the tilting limitation. It's just 76 degrees, which in my opinion is not that great. Let's see how it operates. Power it on, there's the status LED about battery level and mode during the whole time. If you use the gimbal outdoors, however, the LED is totally not visible. Inside a room or at dark, you can at least well see it. So you have the main control buttons for powering on and for starting and stopping the video recordings. There's the focus wheel, comes really handy. I wish there was a way to control any of the axes by rotating it, but I couldn't find such a feature inside the smartphone app. You can change the modes by pressing the joystick and, of course, to use its primary function to control the direction of the gimbal. Everything is quite easy, however, even before I went outside to do some shooting, I've noticed some horizon leveling issues. They're about 1 to 2% deviation, but still notable. A reset may help, but only temporarily. To test the functions, we're going to of course review some footage. I've intentionally used the gimbal mostly with a cheap smartphone, the most affordable from Redmi phones this year, and the results are quite good in my opinion. There is a companion smartphone app that you can download, and inside there are a whole lot of controls. But I have to admit that certain functions are either not present or not on par with those offered by DJI. For example, I so much like the body follow mode, used it so many times, and perhaps if the autofocus issue gets resolved, it's gonna be a good choice. As of now, I use the function with variable success. You can notice that when it follows me, the movements are not gentle at all, and there's something like stuttering. The algorithm needs to be tuned. Among the settings, you're also going to find quite many different filming options to control the resolution and the frames per second. If there is no 24 FPS in your case, then it probably natively is missing from your phone's camera feature anyways. There are a lot of different shooting modes to choose from. Some of them are popular, like time-lapse or inception mode, and a few extra tricks. A live streaming feature is present too, but given all these nice modes and the social media integration, I find it weird that there is no video editor or a database with templates as it is with DJI's Mimo app. But this is of course yet another big pile of software development which Aochuan's team may have decided to spare in favor of the good price. Most of the time the app was working quite well. There have been 2 or 3 freezes that I have experienced, however. Of course, you can totally use your phone's native camera app with the remark that tracking functions and the creative modes will of course be missing. So while I'm totally pleased with the build quality and the performance just for stabilizing, I think the Aochuan team has still a lot to catch up with in terms of software and firmware, especially if they want to be on par with what DJI provide with their DJI Osmo series. But if you don't plan to use face tracking or any of the funky features, yeah, I would say, especially if you're focused on longevity, that's a pretty solid choice. As for the drawbacks, the smartphone app's occasional focus hunting while filming, the lack of some detailed configuration options, the lack of a trigger button because some gimbals have such, and it can bring some more controlling improvements, and also there is no way to save different presets so that you can quickly switch between different shooting modes. So in the end, I think I can recommend the Aochuan X1 Pro because of the good build quality, because of the nice design, the foldable construction which is pretty reliable, and yes, the longevity around the removable battery. But if templates, software and social media presence is a lot more important to you, maybe you gotta pick something else. I guess in terms of software development, DJI are way ahead the competition right now. But it's interesting to hear from you. What do you guys and girls think? Is it a worthy choice for a smartphone gimbal? How does this sound within the $100 budget? And would you favor this over other brands? Well, that would be interesting because I've heard about Aochuan for the very first time testing this device. So thank you very much for staying with me until the end, and hopefully this video has been useful. If you have something meaningful to share, please go ahead, comments are down below, and as usual, link to the product with a discount if I manage to squeeze such for you is somewhere in the video description. Have a great day, see you very soon, bye!